Hello, welcome to Createful Art. Today I'm going to show you how to paint this sunset over these gorgeous fields of flowers. While I show you the simple steps, you can have fun relaxing and getting creative. Before we get started, help me make more tutorials like this one for you to enjoy by hitting that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified whenever I make a new video. Let's get started. So let's start with the colors we're going to be using in this painting. If you are a Createful Art member, this is a great time to get your handout out that will help you mix all the colors for this month. If you're not a member yet, now's a great time to sign up and you get bonus content to help you paint along with me. And you get weekly art lessons to help you become a better artist. Grab the primary colors that you have. They include a magenta, a cyan blue, and a yellow. I have listed the ones that I'm using in the description. You will also want to have a white and a black. The first color you don't have to mix, it's your pure magenta. You can always lighten it with white if you need to. The vivid orange color is created with your magenta and your yellow. Keep adding the yellow until you've reached your desired orange color. This dull light yellow is created with the primary yellow and your white, and a tiny bit of the orange. And while we paint, we can add more white to it when we want to. This beautiful aqua green color is made with yellow and brilliant blue, and then adding white to lighten it. Just adjust those three colors until it's the color you want. The sky blue color is very easy to make. It's just your white and your brilliant blue. We will add as much white as we want to it in our painting. The pretty lilac purple is made with our brilliant blue and magenta. That will make a darker purple, so we will lighten it up with white. Adjust those three colors until it's the purple you want, and don't worry about it being the exact same color as mine. The dark blue is just your dark blue with black mixed with it. Your dark green is made with the dark blue, your primary yellow, and black. We will be adding more black to it when we want it dark, and yellow to it when we want this color lighter. Now our palette's all ready to go and we can start painting, and if you want to keep these colors fresh for this whole month, get the Stay Wet palette, and I have put a link in the description below. To keep this simple, you just need a few more supplies to get started, like your paint brushes and a surface to paint on. First thing that we're going to paint is our sunset, and you want to paint it up here at the very top of the surface that you're painting on. So I'm going to dip into my light yellow here, and I'm just going to get this color down at the top. And then I'm going to grab my white and make it lighter here, down here, right underneath my yellow, and it's going to mix with my yellow. This is a great time to be creative, and I'm going to grab my magenta and I'm going to put in clouds. Now I want you to notice I'm using my flat brush and I'm going in a circular motion. So now I have all these clouds that are going to point to the center here. So I'm creating some lines, and then I'm using a circular motion and pulling out and getting larger as I get closer to the edges of my canvas. And this magenta is mixing with the yellow behind it and creating like a little bit more of an orangey color, which is great. And I want all of my clouds to point to this center. And when I want my clouds to look softer, I mix with the background color a little bit more. When I want it to be harsher, I do less of that. I just want to get that magenta on the top. Now I'm dipping into my purple, and I'm going to add purple to my clouds. Notice how I'm adding this on top of the clouds that I already put down. So there will be some more mixing, but it will cover some of the area. And I'm focusing on the edges of the clouds near the corners of my canvas and not so much in the center. So anywhere that I want to add more clouds, I can. I don't have to do it on top of the magenta. And I do less of a circular brush stroke as I get closer to the center of my canvas where the sun would be. Now it's time to paint the hills in the distance. I'm just going to wipe off my brush here. And then I'm going to put this light blue color on it, and I'm going to add this right underneath the yellow. Notice how I'm using the edge of my brush to make a nice flat line, and you can have your hills wherever you want. It doesn't have to match exactly mine, but you just want to have a few rolling hills. Not a lot, not like a huge wavy line. You want it to be flat. And then I'm going to pull that color down. Now I'll wipe off my brush and I'm going to add a little bit more of that blue color, and it's not going to mix as much with the yellow. And then see how it's a little bit darker? And I'm going to create these hills a little bit different than the ones in the background. I don't want them to be the exact same. So I'm going to pull that darker blue down a little bit, just as I did with the ones in the back. So now I'm going to grab the darker blue, and then I'm going to put in some more hills, and I want them to be very close to the ones behind it. So I'm not leaving a huge gap behind my hills. And I want to make sure that the value or the darkness of that blue is darker than what's behind it. I also want to make sure that the hills behind it and in front of it aren't exactly the same. So make sure your peaks are in different spots. And you can pull down and let some of that blue show behind it, and it looks a little bit like a foggy valley. Now I'm reaching for my pure black, and I'm creating another set of hills really close to the ones behind it. And notice how it does mix with that blue and it just makes a really dark color. And I'm going to pull that black down. So now I'm going to wipe off my brush, not cleaning it, and I'm going to reach for my magenta. And I'm going to create a line of magenta right up against the black. It will mix with it. If I don't want it to mix, then I just go right under the black, but I do want it to go into each other and create a darker magenta color in some areas. And I can pull up into the black as far as I want to go. And that creates a soft transition from the black to the magenta. It's a field of flowers. It's going to appear like that anyways. It's a very impressionistic painting. This isn't realistic, so it's very playful. Now I'm going to grab my medium round brush and I'm going to add in some trees. So I've grabbed my green. This is my medium green, and I'm going right over the black. It will mix a little bit, so I'll have to go back for paint when it starts to mix too much and blends in. Notice how they're just basically blobs, and the top of them are about where the blue is. And I'm just going to put in a random number, and I'm going to make some smaller large. Both of my paintings that I painted are different, and it doesn't matter that they look exactly the same, so you can get creative with this and add as many trees as you want. Now I'll grab a little bit more of the light green and add it on top to create some dimension just in a few little areas on my trees. So right underneath my magenta is this vibrant orange color. So I'm going to create some gaps between the colors that I'm going to add. So I'm just going to pull down here and then go down to the right. And then I will fill that area with some magenta. So as I'm layering this, there is no need to copy exactly what I'm doing. You can use my reference photo to help you if you want though, but I want you to notice that both paintings are different. I'll let you know when there's important things, like I'm adding purple right here in the background and blue. Those colors need to be in that orange to create some warmth and cool color play. This is a great time to express yourself with color. So you can add in any of the cool colors, blue, green, or purple. And then I'm going to grab the dark color. So this dark green. And I'm going to concentrate on this bottom area and fill it in with that dark green. It really doesn't matter how you fill in this area, so this is a great time to express yourself. So once my bottom's done, I can put that color in other areas of my painting if I wish. So now I'm grabbing my medium green and I'm going to create some texture here with grasses. So I'm just pulling up on my brush. I made it go to the side, and then sometimes I'm not. I'm just going to add more of those short brush strokes. And I'm playing into the dark of my greens, so it's going to start looking like there's dark areas in these grasses and light areas in these grasses. So I'm going to add in this medium green in the area that I don't have the dark green and start filling in all of my white. And when I pull on my white, I'm pulling up into the purple. so it looks like grasses. And then I'm adding some green back there. So I can add the green streaks going across wherever I want. There's no right or wrong here. Now I'm adding in the dark blue. So this is another place where you can be creative. You can get as detailed as you want with this foreground with your grasses. So if you want to go down to your detail brush, that's fine. I'm just using my flat brush. This is where I'm really getting in the flow here. And we talked about flow in our weekly art lessons if you don't know what that is. So now I'm grabbing some more of that dark green, and I'm going to add some more detail back here in my bushes. You can take it as detailed as you want. So the thing is that every time I add paint, it will start trying to blend with that background color. Because we're doing this painting all in one sitting, we're not waiting for anything to dry. So I have to play with it a little while and try to get that color to sit on top. And by adding more paint to my brush, I can do that. And it also, having a little bit blended in, makes it look like the light's touching those trees. Every once in a while, add some dots in there, some broken up landscape in that orange field. Now I have my detail brush because I want to add in some detail. So I have yellow on my brush, and I'm going to add some yellow back here in my field. But now it's time to add in another layer over your field. And when you add these little dots of color, it's going to look like flowers. For a different texture, I can wash out my brush. I have to wash out my brush and grab my yellow, and then I just dab in the middle, and it's a little bit more of a sloppy dot look. And then I go down to my detail brush when I want little dots. And this can be any color that you wish. I'm working on yellow right now. So I'm going to create some dots, some blobs, and I'll wipe off my brush when I get too much green on my brush because it mixes with the background color. And then I'll go to a different brush if I want to have a different look. So this is a great time to be creative and play around with your texture. What do you like right now? Which brush do you want? Which brush gives you the effect that you want? So this is a great time to express yourself in these flowers. Do you want to create more lines? What kind of flowers do you want to paint? Everything here is just lines and dots. That's all I'm doing. And I'm concentrating right now with that yellow on top of the dark green area, so the strongest contrast. So everything that I put on top of that dark green is going to be powerful and stand out. And it's going to be less powerful if I add it onto the medium green. So I can choose between my colors which ones I want to stand out more. So I'll go to my purple here. I'm going to create a different type of flower. So you can decide to be more organized with your dots or marks or blobs, whatever you want to call them. This is a great time to relax and get into the flow. Place your colors wherever you want, your blobs, your dots, your lines. Use whatever brushes that you want. If you find yourself floundering, just refer to my reference photo and keep playing with your painting until you are happy with it. I want to thank my Createful Art members who help make these videos possible to be shared with you on YouTube. If you're interested in becoming a member too, you get weekly art lessons, reference photos, and bonus content like full tutorials. You can also help me share more tutorials with you by hitting that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified whenever I make a new video, and hitting that like button and the share button and sharing this with your friends and family who are art lovers too. This channel is all about enjoying the benefits of art in our lives, so the more who can benefit from this, the better. So go ahead and sign your work when you're done. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you had a great time expressing yourself, and you can watch more videos if you like, and I look forward to teaching you more and seeing you in my next lesson.